Yeah, it seems to be a favorite of that region, and you know, considering how Thelicore played, had some great initiations, I can't say I blame them for it.
Chen.
Ooh. Okay, you pointed this out, and no one banning the Chen, and that's something that you usually would see nowadays, but SG Esports ends up fourth picking the Chen eventually there, so now FURIA going to have to figure out what they want to do against said hero, but yeah, there's a reason why Chen does seem to get banned more so than not. He's very, very strong just all-around hero right now.
Yeah, he's just so strong early as well. Even though, you know, they nerfed his spell away from an aura back into a spell. They nerfed his ability to recall people across the lanes. They nerfed what creeps he's able to take over early. But still the Chen, something you need to think about banning. And it's managed to slip through here for SG. And we said they wanted to go early game, and the Chen definitely helps with that.
Remaining.
I'll never complain whenever we see Invoker. Always a huge fan, just from an entertainment perspective. And happen to be somebody myself that plays a fair amount of Invoker, so I'm happy to see Invoker in the hands of FURIA this time around. And certainly another good option against a hero like Wraith King. Just brings great crowd control, good kite capabilities, and great AoE clear, as well as just the mana burn, even, of course, with the EMP. I know you talked about Wraith King, of course, at level 20 eventually. We'll not be overall concerned about that, but still, up until that point, it's something that he will have to be concerned, because you're likely going to have a Diffusal Blade anyways for Naga Siren, just as such a natural build on her, potentially, and then Invoker now with the EMP. Wraith King may not be able to reincarnate a lot this in the earlier game, at least.
Yeah, the interesting thing, as you say, you know, you talked about that EMP. Do they feel that this is a Quaswex Invoker game? You usually see that, you know, when you need that little bit more control, I feel like, and you're not looking for damage. And for the side of FURIA, maybe that's what they're okay with. You know, the Naga Siren will be their damage dealer, so the Invoker just looking to more control the fights, get that early earn, and maybe into a Spirit Vessel before he looks to scale his damage. Or do you favor the Eggsort Invoker here?
I think the Quaswex actually does make a lot of sense to be the very active Invoker, kind of going to your suggestion there that Naga Siren is a hero that will want to be able to sit back and kind of farm, do her thing for a fair amount of the earlier game. And if you go with the Quaswex Invoker, he also will want to do a fair amount of that. So I feel like it might be a little too greedy this game to go the Quaswex. So yeah, I personally would expect the Quaswex this game, as long as whoever is going to be playing it here for FURIA. Double check on their main player, or their mid player, excuse me. Mini. That's what it's labeled. Okay, so Mini, their mid player. I assume we could play both, and I would expect Quaswex if I had to guess.
Yeah, so SG, they do have the final pick of the entire draft. They can decide if they want their Lina versus the Invoker. Lina versus Invoker, I think Lina should win that matchup, but I don't think you're able to kill the Invoker just because of his innate regen that he's getting from the Quas. But let's say this Lina was a 4 position. Can you think of any major mid heroes who counter the Invoker? Because I think he just does well in most matchups, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, if he's going the Quaswex idea, there's not really a hero that comes to mind that, yeah, is going to be a massive threat to him as far as getting the kill. Of course, Quaswex will hurt his last hitting capabilities. So, yeah, I mean, there's not really a hero that necessarily screams right now. I mean, there is Ember Spirit is even still on the board, I suppose, and Ember Spirit good against Naga Siren potentially, as far as having more AoE clear to take care of that. And not going to go the Ember Spirit, though. Okay, they are going to go Lion instead. And I mean, I assume that's a support Lion going to be happening from SG Esports. Let me confirm as far as who's playing what. Yeah, Analog is their mid player, so he is on Lina. So yeah, there's going to be a support Lion final pick. They wanted a bit more crowd control themselves. And also, of course, with the Mana Drain and even that Hack's good against the illusions of a Naga Siren, so certainly a strong hero for that aspect too.
Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that Lion has a new immortal. You know, people always do better when they're able to show off their cosmetics, and he has those lovely horns. So but as a bit more serious, you know, we are going to see that Lina versus Invoker, and I think that's, you know, a fairly okay matchup. But the real question I think we're asking ourselves is, what lineup do you favor? And I think I always just favor the inevitability of the Naga Siren.
This is going to be a timing game. It really is. As far as if I had to pick somebody, and I know that's Very easy cop-out answer, I suppose, but if the early game's dominated by SG Esports, which certainly can be, if Analog has that great mid-start as you maybe expect, Chen's movements there with Cat, then this is a game that could spiral out of control for Furia, and they'll be just too far behind to recover from. I do like the Centaur final pick with that in mind, having that Stampede, yet another tool that's so good against this Wraith King, the Stampede for kiting away. Wraith King is going to have trouble sticking on targets. Well, maybe not, I suppose, because he also does have a lot of crowd control around him. In fact, every hero technically brings some kind of stun. So, actually, I'm kind of thinking it out. Maybe Stampede isn't that great against this lineup anymore. But yeah, maybe I will. I'm going to lean towards SG Esports. I think I just convinced myself. Good conversation.
Good job, Breaky. Glad I could help you make up your mind there. But that is a really valid point. The amount of control they have in the fights coming from the Dire lineup. If they're the ones able to initiate, they'll be able to chain stun anyone into oblivion, it looks like.
Yeah. Little pause to start things off, but here we go. Yeah, we cast them actually twice more today, in fact. Our next match will be Infamous versus Furia. So we're going to cast Furia again versus Infamous, the new Infamous squad there. And then we have Team Ham versus Gorilla's Pride after that. And then Team Ham versus Eagle Boys will finish it off. So that's our schedule here on BTS3 stream. And what you guys are in store for when it comes to the coverage that we'll be providing for you guys. So hopefully you're tuning in, and whether it's via squad or on the stream itself, we do appreciate it. As it looks like we are finally ready to kick things off in what is SG Esports versus Furia now. This one-game series. So go back to, if I had to choose, I would say SG Esports, but certainly a game that I could see either outcome happening with these two teams.
Yeah, and we talked about how we felt a lot would be on this Invoker to make space for the Naga Siren early on if he does go for that Cosworks build. And he is a level 25 Invoker here on Mini. So one of your favorite heroes, clearly one of his as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see the kind of plays he's able to accomplish.
These are the best ones. They really are. This is one of these heroes that when you have a high skilled player on it, of course, such as Miracle and crew, it's impressive to watch. It really is. So I'm excited to see, again, a little less familiar player in the name of Vinny. As he said, though, he's level 25, so certainly has played plenty of games on him. And yeah, does have the Quas leveled up. Just makes so much sense this game. Also did receive a couple of pelps, even with a couple of the talent changes there, both the level 15 and 20. The Cold Snap cooldown reduction, it went from -12 to -15 seconds even. So Cold Snap becomes a pretty low cooldown, in fact a 5-second cooldown if you are to get that ability over the extra Forged Spirit. And going Quas Wex, I certainly would not be surprised at that. So that's he is going to be bringing plenty of crowd control.
Yeah, the Wraith King just being harassed back out of lane. He found the Tiny and the AA, but it looks like it's just going to be 2 for 2 bounty runes, as is usual.
Yeah, that's how it goes. As you see Chen at the bottom lane with that new Divine Favor. 90 seconds. We'll throw that out as he's going to bring good old Wraith King over to him. So he starts blocking, and into the laning phase we go.
And it actually seems we're seeing this more and more. Centaurs going for the double stout shield, but Murdoch, he doesn't even want to contest the first wave. He's actually just going to cut the wave and let his Tiny get this first wave of experience. Just not wanting to lane against the Wraith King and the Chen, apparently.
Yeah, very interesting. This is almost similar to like an Axe would be doing. Of course, Centaur with that double stout shield, certainly one that can withstand this pretty easily, especially with the Retaliate leveled up. So he's going to be just fine, and is curious to see how SG Esports decides to respond to this. I mean, they could go for the response of, all right, if you're going to cut a creep wave, we're just going to push your tower then like crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the direction they decide to go in. But at level 1, it's not necessarily easy to do that, of course. So especially with what abilities they currently have right now, not something they can necessarily do.
And in the top lane, it's worth noting that they don't quite have sentries yet over here on Duster, so they're not able to win the battle to get the vision over the Sandstorm. And even if they get those sentries, Sexy Fat, he's ready to fight back with a bunch of sentries of his own. And if you're not able to get the vision of the Sand King, he is just such a pest sitting in the Sandstorm in your lane.
Yeah. And Naga Siren getting a couple last hits underneath the tower. At least that's the idea. Does get that one right there. So currently sitting at 7-2, making 8-2. Manages to get another Ancient Apparition. Duster Runs off to the side, sees Lion running on through. Has 2 minutes. It looks like will be blocked by Lion, so that's exactly what he's running over there for, to prevent spawn of the pole camp being extra annoying. And so they'll have to wait before they're able to do that again. Always intrigued by the mid matchup, though. We got Lina 11-5, Invoker is 9-1. Again, mentioning Invoker is the Quaswex build. So I'm honestly a little surprised the fact that he's actually doing as well as he is right now. I mean, deny advantage certainly for Analog here on Lina, but this feels like a pretty good Invoker game, especially being the build that he is.
Yeah, it's, and in the bottom lane, Cat hit level 2, finally has Holy Persuasion, but those nerfs to Chen, you know, he's only able to get this Centaur Corsair creep, you know, and it's just, it does nothing. Centaur, he's more than willing to kill one of his own kind. Maybe that's what Cat was thinking, you know, you wouldn't hurt a lovely Centaur, would you? But he most certainly would, and this Chen is just achieving nothing.
In fact, he's going to take some damage here himself as Centaur's just running at him. He could activate Retaliate, and he's going to do that. Okay. Unfortunately, gets blocked right as he does. If he even got one attack off there with the double edge, I think he might have had the kill. That's what he was going for. He's going to run over and hit him again, but yeah, Cat's like, okay, I realize I actually can't do anything right now against him, so it's not worth the efforts. Top lane.
In this top lane, yeah. I think he might go down. Yeah, last hit there for the Lion. He was just sitting. I was watching him. He was trying to fight up inside that Sandstorm, and they have both the Bio Strike as well as the Earth Spike. And, you know, you're just caught inside. You're taking how much damage is a second? 45 damage a second. And that really starts to add up.
Yeah, it certainly does. And pays the price right there. Duster was busy doing the pull, so SG Esports is really working around this pull cam, from blocking it to saying, all right, if you're going to get the pull off, we'll go ahead and kill your core in the meantime, and exactly as they do right there. So that top lane, pretty good start for SG Esports. As I mentioned that, I mean, can't overlook the farm that RDO does have on Naga Siren, and also has a TP rotation from Tiny, by the way. And it's just a sentry ward over there, so I don't think SG Esports necessarily knows this, as Heiko trying to find the angle, gets the avalanche off. Sand King does not have enough mana currently. Only 2 stick charges right now. That would not be enough for a getaway. Good job with the Earth Spikes out on 2, but a good block on Sexy Fat. And Sexy Fat is just going to be dead fat at this point, as that rotation pays off for Tiny. So well played for FURIA, or FURIA, I guess.
Yeah, the Tiny, I mean, he's doing nothing in this bottom lane. The Centaur, he's going to continue his shenanigans. Apparently he stopped cutting the creep wave, I think, just to make sure they secure the 5-minute runes. But the Tiny, he can have so much more impact top where they find the AA.
Yeah, I mean, they were going for a Lion. They were desperate to reach for that kill, but he ends up just walking away. Lands another pretty solid Earth Spike, and he walks it off, going for the bounties. Oh my god, they just got all 4 bounty runes on the side of SG Esports, as Sand King was contending at the top spot. He got it in time. Just a slightly faster clicker. Yeah, that's not good news for FURIA when you give up all 4 bounty runes at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's not as disastrous if it happened against the Alk lineup that we saw last time.
Sure.
So it's just something that you know you have to work on. Murdoch, you know, he should have got over to that rune faster, but was busy tangoing with the Wraith King and the Chen. And, however, we do seem to have a smoke, and I don't know if this is a wraparound for the Lina, but it might end up resulting in a kill.
Look at the scan, though. They scan Duster at least over here as hits, and they suspect something's happening. But all of a sudden, Tiny and Centaur go in. Look at that toss. The poor man's Blink Dagger into a hoof stomp. And pops Retaliate, has that double edge, but with this assistance of Lion, he misses the Earth Spike, though. It is going to save Analog either way. And Centaur will just dance it off. So, yeah, they do find Lina. Just unfortunately don't have the follow-up to secure the kill in the end.
Yes, so the smoke pressures her a little bit, but she's just right up to a decent amount of health with her bottle. And it's exactly as you say, that poor man's Blink Dagger, not quite enough damage. But haste on this Tiny, Sexy Fat, is he in real trouble?
Doesn't look like it. Tiny can't, or maybe he is actually. I was watching the bottom lane, but see on the mini-map, he's still in there, isn't he? Sexy Fat, he's just going to walk around the trees, swing around the Rosie, another Burrow Strike. Another toss, though. He's going to get him to commit to the shrine, and then that'll probably be... he tosses him away even slightly, so... But he still gets plenty of regen from it. So having some fun with him, but no kills taking place. But this is... look at the bottom lane now. So this is what I was talking about. I mean, especially with Wraith King and now level 3 on that Mortal Strike. The skeletons are here, and they're going to take out the tower.
Yeah, this is just a really good job by SG. You know, they identified that the Centaur is going to be by himself. They do have enough pressure now that Golem has a few points in the Mortal Strike, and they just push with this first catapult wave. This is what you see from the really good teams. As soon as there's a catapult wave, they try to take advantage of this. In the major, we saw a bunch of teams, you know, they look for an engagement in the mid lane at 5 minutes to look for a pressure on the tower. But over here, it's just SG in the bottom lane realizing Centaur by himself cannot go mano-a-mano with the Wraith King.
Top lane, Sand King. Can he get out of this one? He's got Pearl Strike still. We'll use it right there. Slow gen initially by Duster, but with the cold feet, that ain't procking. And he's just going to keep on walking. So he'll be fine. Vela Discord queued up for Sand King as we see there. But still a little bit away, at least having the first component, of course, that does plenty in the Helm of the Iron Will, the armor and the HP regen. Benefiting from that, certainly, as Lion comes back over. Invoker starting to fall off a little bit, but as of right now, the CS, again, is actually very comparable to Lina currently. You know, if that's been rotations or what, but levels are adding up, and Invoker feeling a bit better now.
Yeah, you know, he just has more sustain, and also Invoker, one of the highest intelligence gain. I think it's 4 per level, so, you know, even without those points in Exhort, it does get that a little bit easier to CS, and with the help of the phase boots, also giving him that bonus damage.
Has the urn just around the corner, and of course, especially with this build, that early Spirit Vessel, certainly something we could expect to see from Invoker this game. Of course, Ags, ideally you do want as well, so we'll see what direction he goes for that. Bottom lane, Wraith King, is he sitting on a point? No, he doesn't have Reincarnate. He's going to go down. I was waiting to see if he was sitting on a point. We see Wraith King doing that sometimes, but he does not. He's committed towards that level 4 Mortal Strike, and thus he just gets taken out. Meanwhile, top lane, Heiko gets picked up, and there's still more action. Sand King going to be locked down. The EMP explodes, securing that kill. You see Chen nearby with the Centaur Stomp. Not enough to save the day. He will walk it back, though. So they lose 2 on the Radiant side, despite killing 1. And Tiny certainly favoring FURIA. And apparently, well, that's Murdoch going down as well at the bottom lane. So I guess getting some revenge at least.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting the rotation. The leader just comes over, gets the light strike away array from the trees, follow up with the Laguna Bait and a few right clicks. Easy kill for him, and a pretty nice one on the Centaur. One thing I wanted to talk about before the Wraith King died was the fact that he's actually rushing the Radiance, you know, not stopping off for a Midas. Oh, and the top lane, we have another great engagement.
Oh, that was a huge 3-man stun right there from Lion. Centaur Stomp follow-up, and they get the kill on Ancient Apparition. Lion's trying to kite away. He is slowed down, however, and I think he will be found as illusions created from Nagasiren. But Invoker went way too far up right there by himself, and he gets caught in a trap. So they didn't even kill Lion, did they? Lion ends up walking away, despite seeming like he was going to be in a very poor spot. But that 3-man stun initially that was set up, talk about some big plays, and this fight certainly goes the way of SG Esports. And we are starting to see the impact of this Chen now, even at level 3. Again, this is one of the many reasons why this hero is still a top priority ban in a lot of cases. The fact that they got a 4th pick is pretty crazy, and SG Esports is making it work.
Yeah, with level 4 in the Mortal Strike, it might not have allowed him to live through this. Oh, I think they found the Tiny once again, however.
Tornado's not going to save him. Tried his best. The EMP explosion after. You see those cold snaps coming out, but Invoker currently doesn't have any urn charges, as the Ancient Apparition will land the Ice Blast. And Cat, that is going to be a death on him. Yep, it is enough damage. Ends up securing that kill at least, but yeah, Tiny back-to-back deaths right there for him. Clearly continuing to be involved in action at this top lane. This is apparently where the fights are, as the tower is just about dead. The Skeleton's going to finish it. Oh, nice deny from Tiny at least. So tower is still dead, but at least they get the 9. Apparently we're not even done just yet, as Sexy Fat, yeah, maybe we are. He's just going to Sandstorm.
Yeah, so I think we should just go back to the point you were talking about. We're seeing this, the control from SG and just how powerful it is. You know, Sexy Fat, he lands a decent Burrow Strike onto 2. Then there's a follow-up in that. It's like you just continually chain stunned and no one can break out of it. And for the side of SG, they really have identified they do not want to go to this late game versus the Nagasiren. They're pushing with the Chen, they're pushing with these skeleton creeps, and Golem, he's not even stopping off this hand of Midas. Just wants the Radiance, just wants the power, and I wouldn't be surprised if once they have that Radiance, they just look to mow down even more towers.
Interesting with that Radiance choice, actually. I'm kind of, you know, going back to the idea that if you're SG Esports, the way that you're certainly going to be winning this game is with that earlier momentum. At the same time, I get it because you are against a Naga Siren, and certainly having a tool to deal with this Naga Siren if and when the game does start to get out of hand is a great idea. But it's playing that game of, do you go for the advantages that you have early on, which again, they've been upwards of about a 3,000 net worth lead at 12 minutes in. That's pretty good. But they are going to play a little bit safer route, at least with that choice, it feels like. You hear the Stampede going off, by the way. It looks like it was for the mid lane because Invoker was getting pressured. EMP connecting. Lion, though, is just tanky enough, has that casual bracer, and he will survive. Stampede is on cooldown now.
Yeah, they were smoke gagging him with the Lion from the side over here, but he saw them coming, gets the tornado off in time. So even though the Lion managed to get the Hex off, it was inconsequential, and even just be safe, as you say, the Stampede to make sure the Invoker gets away.
Top lane, Sexy Fat might be in trouble, although he should be able to see Ancient Apparition coming over yet. The ward of the uphill is going to be countered by Duster, but a little too late. It means Sand King has that information. And he'll just simply walk away as bottom lane Centaur able to TP out before he gets caught. Somewhat of a close call right there, but just not able to do so. And Wraith King going to sit on about 3,000 net worth now. So it looks like he is committing towards the Radiance certainly at this point. Yules is finished on Lina though. So she has her first important item of the game.
Yeah, the Yules just... is there anything else you can build on Alina? Just setting up for the Light Strike Array. I don't think there's anything better. On the bottom lane, they seem to have managed to call it the Centaur, and they might be able to bring him down with this finger.
Keywords might. I don't think they are. In fact, a turn on a Golem is there, so it's going to pop his Reincarnate finally. RDO going to pop a Song in response. Does not want to fight further, realizing they've used a lot to get that kill. They're going to back it off. So Reincarnate, very long cooldown at level 1 as Lena was going uphill into an Invoker. Nice job with the Ice Wall. It'll be a heavy slow, but Lions nearby just throws out the random Earth Spike. Analog still quite slow, though. Cold Snap procs on top of that. Mini wants this kill so badly, but with level 1 Exort, I don't think he's getting. He's going to have to Deafening Blast, and now might be in a bad spot. In fact, Stampede activated, but with that lockdown, we talked about this, so the lockdown doesn't matter how fast you run if you can't freaking get away. Hannah got on Lena to save him, gets the Lacuna Blade off, but dies after the fact. Look at this, though. He brings in Sexy Fat on Sand King, does Cat, playing Shen, and now Murdoch taking that initial stun. He's just trying to kill the creeps, but can't do that, and gets taken out himself. So good play in the midst of a crazy fight there from Chen to bring in supporting cast and ultimately get the victory on their side. At least, I suppose you could argue. They did lose Lena.
Yeah, that fight, it felt, you know, a little bit disjointed. Well, actually, the fighting over here just isn't over yet, apparently.
Oh, now it is. Lion's dead, and oh, maybe not even. Okay, Chen's going to get caught, too, with that net initially, and Cat's trying to run, but Tornado, it is going to connect. The Sunstrike setup, perfect, and Mini secures the kill. Affirmative given. All right, well, especially with those kills, it's actually a 1-5 for Furia, definitely. But top lane, Ancient Apparition, get in the bounty rune, but it does cost him his life in the meantime to make that happen.
Yeah. So I was going to try and break down this fight over here before all the aggression continued across the map. Great to see, obviously. But, you know, fighting from the top over here is the Invoker. They try to run towards him, get some stun on him. But with this 1 point in the Exhort, he has a really nice push back onto them. The recall of the Sand King, however, is what nets them the kill. But not before they lose their Lina. Using the Stampede to get on top of the Lina, she is not tanky enough to live through these Naga Siren illusions, even at this early level.
Centaur with the Blink Dagger purchase. Wouldn't mind trying to use it soon as he's heading back towards the top lane with Sand King. Looks like it's going to be a little too slippery and we'll be fine. But yeah, that's some good initiation now that Furia has. You look back at Wraith King, though, definitely committed towards the Radiance. He's got the Sacred Relic. How do you feel about this? Do you think this is the right direction to be going the Radiance, or would you rather see much more of that aggressive, trying to capitalize off the early start, as Lena might be going down, by the way? Okay, she's dead.
Yeah, they just caught her in the mid lane. The reveal of the Blink Dagger of the Centaur, they weren't quite prepared for it. So I think the Radiance is... it's kind of one of the only items you can go for because, again, the Radiance, it's not just there for the damage. It speeds up your farm and helps you to get to next items. And I think Hugh made the point earlier on that it's good for dealing with the Naga Siren illusions as well. So I don't actually think it's that too greedy to go for it first on Golem, especially when he's going to have it at this decent timing.
Yeah. Well, again, is going for it. We'll see how the impact looks from it. Very interesting item pickup, unless I've been out of the meta these last couple of months. Villa Discord just picked up by Invoker for his second item after the urn. So having a Villa Discord now is certainly going to amp plenty of damage that both he and the team actually is bringing to the table. In fact, speaking of that top lane, they catch Wraith King initially. Reincarnate is ready to go. Stampede activated for this kill. They're going to make it happen. Hand of God does come out though in response, and Tiny falls. Mini might have got caught a little too high up. He pops his Ghost Walk. They do have vision. Nope, never mind. Wraith Blast is not going to connect, and Invoker will just keep on walking away. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 in that chaotic fight. A Centaur TP's on out before anyone can catch up to him too. But yeah, Invoker, I guess even they're getting to use the Villa Discord somewhat.
Yes, so they trade all that for a kill onto the Tiny and to put the Reincarnation on cooldown, but it's already level 2 Reincarnation, so it's nowhere near as punishing as the level 1. So you might not even be in fighting shape again before he has it. And next time you fight into Golem, he is going to have this Radiance. Yeah.
Oh. They just TP'd onto the Wolf, did Sand King. He's got the bots now finished right in front of Ancient Apparition. And makes the kill happen. I love seeing that. That's the early bots for Sand King to follow up the Veil, so he doesn't even need a Blink Dagger when he can just TP on creeps that are nearby, apparently.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, he didn't need to use those bots. He could have been called in by the Chen, but, you know, just making use of your shiny new item, really.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's... Well, I don't think he could have, right, because it was on cooldown, I believe.
Okay.
At that point, so I think it looks like he might have actually used it on somebody else to bring him there. But Wraith King, okay, no, he's fine.
Yeah, he does have the Radiance now, so it's a big item you need to respect. 30 seconds without his ultimate. I don't know if the side of FURIA are, you know, timing the Wraith King ultimate perfectly, but, you know, they might just not want to initiate on Golem now because they're afraid of you might have to kill him twice, and they're not quite sure they can do it.
Yeah. Keep a check on Naga Siren, who's got the early Manta. The Diffusal Blade, really expected this coming along too. But yeah, you go back to Wraith King, count to level 20, where he gets that no reincarnation mana cost. So when he gets that, the game certainly does change, the way that he can play and everything. Obviously, up until that point, he does have something to be concerned about, at least, being that EMP blast. And if that brings him below that 160 mark or not. As that's Ancient Apparition getting found in the jungle, by the way. FURIA losing him, and SG's trying to figure out now where to go from that kill. It's not necessarily a kill that is going to open too much up, but a kill that they'll take, certainly. Although Roshan, they would love to do, they can't go for it just yet.
Yeah, this Chen, he hasn't built into medallions. Sometimes you see Chens do that, so they don't really have the minus armor for Roshan. Stampede here in the bottom lane, and they found the Sand King.
Collapse on him. Hand of God, not enough. He tried to use Hand of God to keep him alive. However, the tornado comes through, hits both. There is a Shrine used, so you got to be careful. Centaur locked into the backgrounds. They catch Lion. Lion's dead. The toss up on Lina is trying to run away. The Ice Blast coming through it. Oh, it hit Wraith King, it looks like. Did not hit Lina, but Wraith King needs to be careful now. He has Reincarnate. Can they burn that mana with an EMP? No, they cannot, so they're going to pop it. Means it will set the cooldown, of course, and the after effect means a kill on him after he comes up, in fact. So FURIA, dominating fight. Save your teammate syndrome was real from SG Esports, and it did not work out.
Yeah, it's an amazing fight for the side of FURIA. They have the detection for the Sand King. He dies very, very quickly. They continue to fight even into this shrine. And the tornado from Mini, you said it caught 2 people, but it actually even caught the Lina further back, just as she TP'd in. So they weren't able to get any sort of counter initiation going. So amazing play by Mini there on that Invoker. You're right, they just went from one kill to another because the Naga Siren with this Manta style, as well as now the finished Diffusal, is starting to do real damage with those illusions.
Yeah, and Invoker does have his maxed out Wex now, so in the case of the tornado, that is, that much more range that it has as a result. So certainly helping him right there. His mid lane Sand King, ooh, almost getting caught. He got a little greedy with the Burrow Strike for farm, but he's able to blink out before he gets caught. Invoker, Ags is queued up, and especially going the Veil, this is going to be a great Ags timing at this rate. This Invoker is certainly looking pretty good with his farm, at least in my opinion. FURIA, has to be happy with that. And the fact that he's third on his team is the craziest part to me, because Centaur is actually second, having that blink, has a full Crimson Guard now, working on a pipe. And then, of course, you have Naga Siren, who's understandably in that top spot, has a defusal, has the Eye of Scotty queued up. So this Radiance hasn't necessarily shown yet for Golem and for Wraith King.
Yeah, the Radiance, you know, it's meant to be your key item. It's when you're ready to fight. And I mean, you can see the damage over time, but once they manage to isolate Golem, he is not a very tanky man. I mean, he has so little armor, and then he takes one Riptide, and I think yeah, you're at negative armor over here on the Wraith King. And part of this comes back to the treads. More and more Wraith Kings are going for these phase boots just because they offer that armor, which is something you lack as a strength hero when you're not an agility carry. And we could really see how they just found it so easy to kill Golem.
Yeah. Got the illusions up here for Naga Siren just chilling. I don't know if this micromanagement or if he's trying to keep them nearby to make a play with, but either way, Eddie spawn, and he's going to spawn more here at the bottom. Getting well on his way to that Eye of Scotty now. And this is where you certainly start to be concerned for SG Esports. I still think they have a little bit of time left, sure, but it's got to be scary knowing that the Naga Siren is top farm by a fair amount right now and is not showing signs of slowing down, at least. And the fact you have an Invoker with almost an Axe finished on top of that, bringing plenty of control to the table. Things that, in the case of Furia, they're happy to see. But I still go back to Roshan, a point of contention that hasn't necessarily been tempted yet by either team. It's just a matter of finding the opening. Oh, hand of God. Yep. Okay, top lane, they found a kill.
So what happened was the Tiny, he tries to make the move onto line, but they had the aerial support of the Invoker Sunstrike, but you know, he just doesn't have enough levels in the Exhort, so he wasn't able to get that kill. And then they turn it around with the Hand of God, the stun into the Finger of Death, and they are able to get that kill. So the aggression there from the Tiny does get punished.
Sand King?
So yeah.
He's fine.
I was thinking about Roshan, as you said, and for the side of SG, it really feels like they don't quite have the ability to take it, because they don't have any sort of minus armor. So even though you do have the sustain offered by the Wraith King, it's just not enough.
Yes, obviously if they get some kills first, then different story, but trying to sneak it or anything like that, probably not going to happen. Invoker just TP's out. Centaur, he's going to be left behind as a victim, more than likely, unless they can't stun him, which they easily do. So, yeah, this was all because they went for a kill on Sexy Fat and Sand King. They saw him farming the bottom lane, pushing it out, and he blinked away right as they were coming in with the Ice Blast and the Invoker follow-up, and they went a little too far to pursue. And so that's the turn kill now. Again, a positive for Furia still is that SG did commit a lot to that counter. Pretty much everyone coming over to make that kill happen, and more time spent for Naga Siren to just continue her farm as well. So at least they got a BKB on Wraith King, though. It feels like that's an item that should be a nice power spike for SG Esports, so we'll see what they can make with it now.
Yeah, should be very helpful for him. Sexy Fat uses the Epicenter initiation over here onto the Invoker, but it's not going to be quite enough.
Or is it? Or is it? The Sandstorm! It takes him down. God, that Sandstorm. Some brutal damage, man, especially with the Veil of Discord on top of a level 4 Sandstorm. It's some good damage over time. Shows there. And thus Invoker explodes. So essentially a solo kill from Sand King on the Invoker. That was a very good one. Yeah,
the Lina comes in at the very end. I thought really she kind of helped the Invoker there with the Yule Scepter because there wasn't any follow-up. But they do get the kill in the end. Just the Veil with the Sandstorm is just so deadly.
I didn't even know it. I honestly thought that was his own Yules, but that's a good point. He doesn't even have one. That was Lina coming in with it. So they find Sand King, though, roaming through the jungle. This is we're talking about a very good play from the Sand King, getting that big kill on Invoker. He goes a little too deep. Finds a supporting cast, so good turn for Furia. And now Naga Siren has the Eye of Scotty in hand. So this has just been a PvE game right now for Naga Siren, and I don't think Furia would have it any other way. It's the acceleration's there, and even with the Radiance, it's clearly going to be a difficult task for this Radiant team to stop it. Now, I will say they do have the 2 BKBs, both on Wraith King and Alina. So depending on how those are used in these fights, that could be a big difference maker.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say is, you know, let's just think about the macro pace of this game. You know, and FURIA, they are just happy to farm until everyone has every item they want. It doesn't feel like they're the ones who need to make moves. It feels like SG need to be constantly getting more ganks like they did in the top lane. And it doesn't feel like they're getting quite enough out of the game. And it's exactly what you said. RDO has been playing PvE and has been certainly winning that game when you look in the net worth chart.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
This time, Naga Siren has plenty of supporting cast around him. Is not really showing on the map, although they do spot several blips in the mid. Oh no, they're actually smoke, so they don't. They are going to push the tier 1 tower top. Here comes our rotation though. Sand King leading the way. Yeah, they decide to go back through the jungle instead. And trying to find maybe somebody else that's lurking around. They see Invoker throw out the tornado, but Invoker's playing very safe. You can tell FURIA, yeah, I mean, obviously, they know that they're missing, so they're not taking much of a chance here to be found. And they might just set up a defense as Sexy Fat finds a stun on Ancient Apparition. That's a pretty deep one, though. Meanwhile, Hex hits the Invoker. Good job with the counter, though, for Murdoch. Good hoof stop. They get the turn kill on Alliant. Disarm on a Wraith King. Due to the Deafening Blast, he still has a BKB, by the way, not using it just yet. Maybe he wants to wait for the Reincarnate. Lift up with the Yules. The EMP's throwing down. Wraith King will run away. If he gets hit by that, that would have been scary, but he's keeping his distance, so he's in that awkward spot of, yes, he has Reincarnate, but he doesn't want to just suicide himself. Over here, Lena went way too deep. Gets the help from Sexy Fat, but now Sexy Fat could be in trouble because of this. Lena goes down. Wraith King does get his Reincarnate popped due to Nagasar cutting him off. Sexy Fat is just going to hide in the Sandstorm. The BKB teleport out from Wraith King will be successful, and so will Sand King as he's a little too slippery. But yeah, the SG Esports getting a little too uncoordinated there.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of SG, this whole fight started when they just wanted to get a nice, simple pickup on the AA. But they, you know, they expend a bunch of abilities, and he's able to live through it thanks to the help of his team, and they blow the Stampede, and then really nice counter initiation from FURIA starts to come out. And then once that Lena's BKB has run out, it's exactly as you said, she's caught out underneath the tier 2s, and she is just in real trouble. And
Invoker's dead, though. And now Centaur is as well. Invoker thought he was fine because he had Centaur backing him up, but Centaur did not expect this many numbers. And when he went in for the hoof stomp, he actually got stunned in the animation. So good 2 kills for SG, but that was one of those FURIA, yeah, probably shouldn't have been there in hindsight kind of deal. Maybe a little too excited after that previous fight and how well it went. But hey, SG Esports will definitely capitalize with what's given to them. And we're now approaching up to 30 minutes in this game at this point. It's still anyone's game, certainly. And the action apparently is not going to stop for now. Sand King, they find an opening on a Duster. The follow-up eventually is there. However, they lose Lion, and now Sand King might be in a bit of trouble. Nagasar going to be lifted up as a buyback from Ancient Apparition happens. Centaur also has one if they want to. Nagasar is trying to figure out what she wants to do. She does have Song, and that'll be the cue for it. Popping the Song, figuring, okay, just going to go for the TP and get out of there. So playing it safe. Bounty Rune should be able to be controlled by SG, though, so still kind of a minor victory there for SG Esports.
Yeah, just both teams playing around this mid lane, run into each other. It didn't look like the Sand King expected to find the AA, but they both see each other, and there's minor casualties on each side. But one item I really do want to talk about is the Tiny. He's building his own Aghanim Scepter, which I think is a really interesting build from him, especially considering he's in the 4 position. So he looks like, at least to me, like he wants to scale into some damage.
Yeah, we'll see. All that works for him. As a pause coming out, and luckily it's only been 1 pause of the game, not to jinx anything. Infamous team, the European players, and then you have Infamous
machine top.
Now with players such as Schofield, Whisper, K1, Stinger, and Chris Brown. The roster right there. So just to reiterate what we're looking at. Again, there's been a lot of team swapping going on. Happens quite a bit in the South American region. But we're back to this game.
Yeah, and back to this game and back to the Tiny Aghanims. This is one of the ones people were sleeping on at the beginning, but the amount of raw DPS once Tiny gets his Deadless, and you can see that is what he wants after a BKB, is just absolutely insane. It's like AoE crits with the trees. Like, I think I've seen Tiny's pump out, like, it's 1 point something K crits in an AoE, and it's absolutely massive if you have a little bit of control in that area.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. You mentioned he's playing position 4, so his farm isn't necessarily the greatest. And the idea, if he wants to get that data list, he's going to soak up more farm. So that's where you kind of have to think about it. Is that really the most efficient play? You already have a Naga Siren taking up so much. You have an Invoker. So I don't know. To me, it still feels a little maybe over the top and unnecessary, but he's gonna see it come into play right here. All the trees flying through. And takes out the creep wave, but there are responses happening. Chen's in the area. In fact, gets a TP from Sand King, who will find Tiny. It's a matter of do they secure the kill or not. The Yul's aggressively. He gets tossed away. Aiko's attempting to escape. Chen, though, and with Lion here as well, I don't think he's getting away. Tornado helping is not going to be enough, however. Heiko just trying to go for some damage before he dies. Eventually is killed off. Mid lane. Uh-oh, they catch Wraith King, though, so this is certainly going to be a better trade for FURIA if they get the kill after. You see the supporting caster running from the bottom lane. BKB is going to be committed by Golem. He's manning up right now, and he will survive. So Reincarnate popped, but at level 3, it's only a 40-second cooldown.
Yeah, you don't mind about that, and that's the good thing about having a Wraith King carry. You know, I like what the side of FURIA are doing, and against anyone else, you know, you see the rest of the side of SG in another lane, you decide to kill the other hero who's showing on the map, but against a Wraith King, it's going to be ineffective. One thing it does do nicely, however, is they're starting to tick away at this BKB, so the Naga Siren is going to start to do more and more damage as soon as that BKB wears off, and she already has a heart for these illusions. They're having a hard time dealing with them already, and now they're even tankier. So you can see that Golem is actually building a full-blown Molineer. Just going for that item next, so he has more wave clear.
Okay, no, I like that a lot, yeah. It makes some great attack speed as well as you mentioned the wave clearing specifically against a hero like Naga Siren, because it's no secret. I mean, they know that Naga Siren is going to be the issue now as this game progresses on. You mentioned the heart, she has a butterfly now queued up. So yeah, that's all going to be coming. There is an Aeon Disc finished on Lina. So has that now, and there's a smoke play for the Radiant team. Unfortunately, they only find Ancient Apparition. Not necessarily the target they're hoping for, but hey, it's a kill. And they'll make it happen, but of course having to deal with these constant illusions. And Naga Siren at level 20, by the way, did get the Mirror Image Illusion +1. So there's that many more Naga Siren illusions flying around constantly, and it's just one of those annoying things you're going to have to deal with as this game is. I mean, look at that. The Aeon Disc just got procced on Lina by an illusion, so that's frustrating.
Yeah, and in this bottom lane, I was about to talk about Sexy Fat while they managed to find Murdoch.
Well, can they kill him is a question. They burn the mana. And it's just Lion and Sand King for now, though. And with those two, yeah, might not be worth the effort even. In fact, middle lane, because there's more fight happening here. I hear the Reincarnate being popped. So Wraith King already dying once. Pops a BKB, though, in response. They go for the turn kill on Heiko. They will make it happen. Naga Siren, she has her sleep, choosing not to use it yet. Yul's on up. As the stun was coming out, so that was a Yul's that maybe they mistimed a little bit, but she's trying to stun. They keep stunning her, though. The staggers are their perfect staggering stun from SG Esports. She can't get the damn song off. And so they secure the kill, and they're going to get a tower kill. That was some impressive play. I think Chen was a big part of that.
Yeah, and I just want to note that they've found the Naga Siren without buyback. They managed to kill her off. They're pressuring this tier 3. I think they expect the Naga Siren to buy back. But when she doesn't, I think this is just a full lane of racks. And they're still playing with the Centaur. Murdoch cannot come to this fight because he's been dealing with this Lion the entire time. And I wanted to say I love the Sand King's pickup of the boot to travel because it's helped him deal with the Naga Siren split push. But it also just means that he's all over the map with the help of the Chen, as you say. Yeah,
that's hilarious, actually, that he literally is just being distracted. He's trying to TP. You get stunned. Oh, he got stunned! So Centaur can't even TP back now. And Foker, by the way, back at the base is going to go down. It is falling to pieces for FURIA. Still 25 seconds for the Naga Siren to come back in as Duster goes down for a dieback. He's out for 45 seconds. I mean, Invoker has one, but it would be just him and the two others. However, he is going to use it. They're going for tier 4. They're at least going to try to get one of these tier 4 towers. Do they go for the second one? I mean, still 8 seconds on Naga. It's not worth it at this point, it feels like. And now Centaur is coming in the flank. Analog is going to use a BKB to get the hell on out. So he TPs away safely. Sexy Fat missing the stun initially. They do get the stun on Wraith King. And Chen says, take me and leave the others alone. Another BKB TP will be successful. So SG Esports certainly winning the better of all of that, from just the toying with Centaur to getting the pick off on the Naga-san, as you mentioned, the no buyback.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah,
tower
that
is
was
under
pretty
attack.
big for SG.
Yeah, very costly there on RDO being found without buyback. I guess, you know, he literally felt like he was unkillable, sitting at almost 4k HP, but SG, we discussed in the draft that they have so much stun, and they comboed them absolutely perfectly once they identified who was the real Naga Siren.
Yeah.
And so they were able to take down RDO, even if it took a massively long time. And once again, they seem to have found the Centaur.
Well, this Lotus Orb is doing plenty, I'll say that. In fact, the Naga Sleep and the Ice Blitz is a possible turn even. They're not necessarily nearby. Hit the the Sunstrike almost connected on Alina, but she does avoid it. So yeah, they won't kill the Centaur. In fact, Lina even Laguna Bladed herself because of that and actually procced her Aeon Disc once again. So hasn't been the most ideal Aeon Disc so far. But they're going to fight because they know Song's down. And this is with that and the Ice Blast even being still on cooldown. They want to go for Roshan, but probably not going to happen.
Yeah, taking Roshan against the FURIA lineup feels very, very difficult. You know, they have the AA Blaster Vision as being demonstrated. With the tiny Aghanim Golem, he might drop to this.
He is probably dead, but he does have Reincarnate. So he is coming back up. BKB, of course, still in hand. And yeah, with the Reincarnate on cooldown, I can't see them still committing to this. That's just way too risky.
Yeah, the AoE team fight from FURIA, you know, with an Invoker on top of these other heroes, I just feel the Roche Pit is most certainly where you do not want to be if you're SG. You want to be finding individual heroes. You want to be finding these pickoffs like you've continued to do again and again with Sexy Fat, who, by the way, has his Aghanim set. I saw it for the first time in the base, just able to get through to the back lines and find the Invoker and those kind of heroes.
Holy crap, his farm is amazing, because he also just got a Shiva's completed. So yeah, he's almost 20,000 net worth. He's actually third in the game, behind the crazy farmed Naga Siren and Wraith King on either side. So yeah, I suppose that is showing pretty well. And look at Lina. Lina's actually stepped up a lot too. She's got a 4-staff now, going to have a full Hurricane Pike. So she's bringing the utility to the team for sure. And this is where I kind of go back to the Tiny build, honestly. Not putting it on his shoulders, but he went and Ags over more utility for the team. And especially as a position for Tiny, that's where I'm always a little uncertain if that really is the right choice. Like I said, if you were ahead and this was more of an acceleration tool, I get it. But as I come from behind, we need something to help us throughout these fights. It just didn't feel like that this axe was necessarily going to be the right answer.
Yeah, maybe you're right. If he had an item like a 4-staff, you know, to just mess with their chain stuns, mess with their disables, be able to get someone who's caught out into a safe position. Because the amount of times, you know, we've seen Mini found on the front lines, you know, maybe 4-staff him to a safer position. He's able to ghost walk out of there. I think you make a valid point, but if he does manage to get, you know, into this BKB, into this Daedalus, he will become a true 4th core. So I guess that's just what he's thinking.
Yeah, it's set us up for a much later game, I suppose, too. Certainly that's where it would be great, but we'll see as we're now approaching 40 minutes into this game. Again, they still have not had a Roshan kill yet, but it certainly is tough for the Radiant team specifically. They're the ones that have kind of had the lead throughout a lot of this game. Doing a Roshan against this line of FURIA is crazy scary. So yeah, they need to make sure that they have at least a couple of kills. They're going to go for some bounty runes in the area, and oh my god, the Cataclysm coming down, and Raining from the Skies gets a kill on Chen. They're going to go for Golem as well. Stampede slow forward. Sand King doing what he can with that Sandstorm. Going to scare them off. Golem barely alive still. Finally is going to get taken out of the Tornado and pop the Reincarnate, putting that Ice Wall down. Do they have the follow-up? Here comes the Meatball, the Meteor, the Deafening Blast, I believe it missed. Actually got pushed forward with the 4-staff as Sand King goes in with the response right there, and a big stun on the 3 heroes. A Lion follow-up as well. Laguna Blade being used as well from Lina. However, they lost the Wraith King still, and they are going to lose Invoker, though, on the other side for FURIA, so he eventually gets chased down, and both teams losing a pretty big core. Tiny lifted up. Heiko. He's got another tree volley in about 5 seconds. Unable to find further, though. So that turned out to be a pretty chaotic fight.
Yeah, FURIA, they just take the initiation they can find on the Chen. They're sitting on this high ground. They have the vision provided by the Naga Siren Illusions. They manage to take down the Wraith King's first life. And then from there, he's basically playing scared on the Wraith King, and that's why it's went so well for them. But I do have to praise Sexy Fat, who is fighting against the Naga Siren Illusions, but sees this low health Invoker walking away on the backlines. And just the mobility on this man, you know, he has the Yules, he has the Blink Dagger, he has a massive range Fire Strike, and he's almost as elusive as a Puck, to be honest. just such an absolute pain here on the Sand King.
I'm not gonna lie, I almost would want to see like a Radiance on him. Because just how he's able to just get in there, and not only would it give him slightly more damage right clicks, but of course just the burn constantly happening, that on top of the Shivas. And by the way, he is level 25. He's the first 25 in the game. He does choose to get the 50 health regen, which is pretty damn absurd, of course. He gets that over the Storm Slow and Blind, though, which I know there's definitely an argument for sure. But yeah, getting the 50 health regen, just even more reason as to I really go back to, I mean, get something like a Radiance. Just be this target that is unstoppable, it feels like, running at you, and you cannot get away from, and it's just constantly doing all this damage over time. So that would be interesting to see if he decides to go that direction or not. But yeah, he's continued to be the impressive player of this game, certainly for the Radiant team.
So we've had a lot of discussion about the Tiny Ags and whether it was the right item to go to. RDO over here in the top lane pops his BKB.
Maybe not the greatest BKB ever. He wants this kill, but he's not even going to get it. And now the BKB is going to be wearing off soon. Golem, he knows this Reincarnate's likely going to be popped. Over here, that Centaur using item on himself right there to deflect some damage. Good job with the Epicenter follow-up, though, from Sand King. The hand of God as well, and they get a couple of kills, including Nagasar. And this time she has a buyback, but she lost another teammate in Tiny and could lose more. Centaur's distracting. Low proc going off right there, but eventually going to be run down. He's out for 90. Triple kill for Golem. The Duster popping the Shrine there, but it still is not enough. An Invoker, and he just simply cannot do enough damage. It's an Ultra. Are we going to see a Rampage? Give it to him, baby. No, we're not. It's going to be taken by Analog, as a buyback from Nagasar and Centaur happen after the 5th kill takes place. So very late buybacks there, but Radiant team now has their biggest lead.
I honestly have to question the decision-making there by RDO. Pop the BKB when no one was stunning him, when the rest of his team weren't there to really start a fight. You know, if you felt you were in danger, you could have just, you know, gone for the song and tried to walk out or walk back into your team. But, you know, they were caught between initiating and engaging. And by the time they made up their time, this BKB was wearing off. And then the fight just felt so difficult. And again, Sexy Fat, this man, the engagements, he's able to find the back lines, find amazing double burrow strikes, and then there's so much follow-up control from the side of SG.
So go back to the Tiny Ags. You were going to bring up a point there.
Oh, I was going to talk about the Wraith King Ags.
Oh.
Because Golem is building that item next on him, and this is certainly a fun item. I don't know whether it's a good item, but it's certainly a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not? Didn't even more damage in there. In fact, oh my god, Lion actually just got one too. Speaking of a pretty good Ags, especially if we're a position of 5 line, if you can manage to farm it. Certainly that's something that you wouldn't mind having. So, Ags the name of the game right now for SG Esports, and yeah, that's a really big. Actually, Lion Ags is fantastic, isn't it? Because especially with the Nagasar on the other side, to help clear all those illusions and everything. So really like to see that for the side of SG. They clear out the shrines, and it is going to be an Axe for Wraith King. He has a flying out now, so he is committing to it as well. Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily the right choice, like you're saying, but you got a very comfortable lead. It's not necessarily, it's not a bad item either.
Yeah, I think it's never a bad item to have the rest of your team stay alive for a little bit longer in fights. Because, you know, at FURIA, they're trying to burst people down with the Sunstrikes. So it means, you know, you might still have all your spells on cooldown.
Lena trying to chase. She's like, please fight me. I swear I'm by myself. Has that Aegis, of course, as well. And the FURIA is going to get the hell on out before that supporting cast that they kind of knew was coming. Eventually gets there. Is Chen? He's still at the bottom lane. He's going to run into Nagasar, unfortunately. And then, oh, ended up calling in Lion, though. Now Lion, oh, double force staff. That was awkward. Hand of God coming out. I mean, the back lines, Hoof Stomp hits Lion. Senta's going for some revenge. They make the kill happen onto Chen, but now Golem's here. And that's going to be a song TP out. Jeez, that's not what you want to be doing or how you want to be using the song right now. But they have to kind of, and that's a huge opening for SG because they know song's down for a good 70 seconds. Can they actually do much with it, though?
Yeah, the Chen at this stage of the game, he really is just a walking hand of God. He hasn't itemized that many auras. The pipe is pretty nice on him, but, you know, maybe if he had something like a Vlad's, but, you know, playing 5 position Chen, it is pretty thankless. You're not able to get much farm. And you were talking about the Lion's ability to deal with the Naga Siren illusions. It's worth noting that once he gets level 25, you can get that AoE Hex, and that will just instantly kill all the Naga Siren illusions in that AoE. So it's a really pretty nice answer to the Naga Siren if you are able to get there.
Yeah, that was their final pick, and I certainly think that was one of the big factors as to why they went with the Lion pick in the end. They still could have used a support, and certainly one that's good against Naga Siren for many different reasons throughout the game. And it is paying off here for sure. So more positives for SG Esports. They have now a 25,000 net worth lead. FURIA, again, still hanging on in there. You have a very farm Naga Siren. It's understandable, giving yourselves a chance. Her BKB has been used a couple of times. So we're down to 8 seconds at this point. Tiny also has a BKB now. That's a full 10 seconds for him. So a little bit more freedom there in the fights. They're going to try to push out bottom as a team, but they're going to need to address these top and mid lanes.
Sexy Fat, by the way, we've been praising his farm this entire game. Another control factor for the side of SG, as if they didn't have enough, has got this full Scythe of Vice.
Yeah, I still want to see the. I actually think the ratings would have been pretty good on him. I mean, they already got one on Wraith King, so understandable. But yeah, no, Scythe never a bad option, especially when you have a blink target or a blink hero that you put it on. So he does continue to be the impressive hero on this side of the Radiant. And taking a look, I mentioned he was 25 earlier. Well, the other cores have caught up too. Both Wraith King and Lina are also there. So Wraith King gets the Wraithfire Blast on Reincarnation, and Lina picks up the 175 attack range as well. So that, and she just got the Hurricane Pike. So yeah, her attack range is actually pretty ridiculous right now for Lina.
Yeah, so I'm really wondering what the side of SG are waiting for. They have this Aegis sitting on the Lina. It's honestly going to expire in 30 seconds, so looks like they're not going to be able to successfully push with that. But other than that, you know, they have absolutely everything they could ask for. And the buybacks for the side of FURIA, they're still on cooldown for about 2.5 minutes. So I really think you want to try and exploit these buyback cooldowns. You want to look for a fight pretty damn soon, because if you win that next one, you win the game if you're able to kill the Naga Siren without her buyback.
They are playing it pretty safe, I do agree. Well, speaking of this, though, they are going to find Invoker. They knew that Invoker was somewhere over here. He was constantly pushing out the lane with some with the minions, the Forest Spirits and everything, and eventually Sexy Fat even throwing the tip out on top of it. So Invoker does have a buyback, but going back to the point, I mean, this is still a squad that has very good team fight potential if it all comes together. So even though they are under farm somewhat as a team, they could definitely combo it and turn the tide. So they're playing a little safe, understandably. Here we go, though. Invoker buys back, and Golem getting very low. Sand King going to be the initial target stun as well, but remember, he is so tanky. There's a Reincarnate Pop. Remember, the Rayfire Blast coming out as well. The Lion multi-fingers happening right there thanks to the Axe effect here. The Lotus Orb response as well. Golem's trying to keep on running. Nobody technically dead just yet. Will it be Golem be the first? He does have an axe, remember. Sunstrike is going to end up landing as well. The meatball's down, and finally they kill Wraith King. So he's still going to be here technically, but not really. You get the point. The sleep is even used as well, and Wraith King officially dies right there. He does have a buyback. They want to go crazy with this, but they are not going to do that. So there's to the point, though. I mean, it's a pretty good hold from FURIA. SG can't just necessarily walk up and push into the base.
Yeah, the point is made very strongly. They do have to commit the buyback from the Invoker, so he needs to be more careful. He can't just be found split pushing these side lanes once again, because that will be the issue. But, you know, I like what SG did. You know, they had managed to find a pick-off, so they tried to push the high ground. But FURIA's high ground defense, that honestly felt like the first fight that's really gone their way, because they were able to live through the Wraith King's 5-second BKB. And then after that happens, then the Naga Siren is able to, you know, drain his mana, hold him in position, and take the fight. But yeah, Wraith King, his Ags, it didn't pay off for the rest of his team. It kept him alive for 7 more seconds. But once the Wraith King's gone, the rest of your team most certainly don't want to be fighting.
Yet another axe being picked up. Centaur, he gets his classic one, but a pretty good one at that. So has a damage reduction now, 40% for him and the team. This is still not an over game. It really isn't. 27,000 net worth lead is a lot, but you are dealing with a top farm Naga Siren on the other side, and we know that this is one of these heroes that by herself, this later on in the game, as long as she's getting great farm, which certainly is, can be a difference maker. So RDO just trying to keep the pressure up the bottom lane all the way to the base now, so that's the good news. There is a tier 2 mid and top lane still, although they've taken a lot of damage. But really, it feels like the next Roshan is going to be a big key here. If the Dire team, I mean, to the point that we made earlier, they're the ones that are kind of scary fighting at the Roshan pit. So they could almost use that to their advantage, where force SG maybe to respond to the Roshan and then take a fight if necessary. So part of me almost wants to see FURIA go for that kind of play rather than just playing the constant waiting game here.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Fabia. They know their high ground defense is really good as well as their Roche fight, so maybe forcing a fight around there. But I think they just don't feel confident enough, and Sexy Fat is Hex once again over here on this tanky Centaur.
It's a Centaur, though, exactly. In fact, the response is somewhat near Centaur, eventually going to fall, but the response doing plenty. Yeah, comes the Deafening Blast on top of the meatball. Wraith King is dying from it. And Wraithfire Blast flying on through, killing some illusion. So Centaur is down for 2 minutes, though. He actually couldn't even get a Stampede off. Wow, remember with the Ags even, they locked him down in full. And that might be an opening to try Roshan? No, they're not going to go for it at least yet. I mean, even without Centaur, it still is a lot of defense, sure. But being dead for 2 minutes, you would hope that SG can try to capitalize on this somehow.
Yeah, the Centaur buyback cover is money lean at the tip, but they found one more. They find the Tiny.
Yeah. Oh, BKB. TP out, he is good. Yeah, he actually stole the Arcane Rune, too. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he actually got it there, so nice get away from Heiko. That's a good point, though, that meaning that they're not fully aware that he doesn't have one. So.
Yeah, Colum, you can see his next item he was thinking about is this Abyssal Blade. So in the future, you won't be able to BKB TP out in front of this man. He's hoping it won't happen again. But it looks like they do want to just test the Centaur buyback. And I'm curious to see if they continue pushing when they find out he doesn't have one.
Wraith King gonna try to get away there, as 4 staffs will help. Of course, again, has Reincarnate. Also the Yags, need be. But, mentioned tempting here a little bit. Centaur, as we know, 40 seconds he's going to be out for. BKB's committed. They're going for the LSA on top. They get the kill on Invoker. He's out for 2 minutes. The song is not going to matter from Naga Siren. She tried to save the day, but it wasn't going to be, so they find the opening to SG Esports. They know now for sure that there's no buybacks, as Tiny does himself, but with the other two still dead, they're feeling very cozy. Golem running at RDO. RDO just has to keep running away, unfortunately, so that means the Rax is going to go down. Do they go top? I assume so, especially with Invoker staying dead. All right, they're going to go for tier 4.
Yeah, the pings come out. Only one tier 4 remaining.
Might as well, I suppose. They kill Ancient Apparition. Toss back right there, trying to have some fun with the line, but that should do it. It looks like SG Esports. I mean, they're trying to hold here somewhat, but as long as SG just focuses the Ancient, they should be in a good spot to take this game. Wraithfire Blast as he goes down. Thanks to the 25 talent. You just see the pipe even being applied. The Crimson Guard, they're trying so hard. Analog might die to the illusions back here. Finally, they get the kill, though. A chaotic and silly finish of sorts, but it is SG Esports taking the game. And they start 1-0 now in the group stages. So FURIA dropping their first game. We talk about, though, there is still plenty of games to be played, but going quite the distance. The Naga Siren, however, not enough to win the game for them.
Yeah, I mean, RDO did his job in a way as a Naga Siren in becoming the, the most farmed on the map. But what I really feel happened is they missed their timing on FURIA, because there's a point where Naga Siren is just so strong and the strongest person in the fights. But they didn't fight at that point. They continued to farm. RDO had Manta-style Diffusal as well as the Skadi, continues to farm instead of realizing, I'm the Naga Siren. They can't fight into me at this point. Maybe we should sit behind me and take objectives. And it felt like SG Esports were able to take pickles across the maps as well as win bad team fights that FURIA set up with their amazing amount of control. And a massive props to Sexy Fat. I felt like he was always able to find the backlines, always able to find that +1 kill and secure the game for the side of SG.
SG Esports 1-0 again, so feeling good. Still plenty of matches to be playing over the next couple of days. So we are going to go into a short break, though, because obviously keeping things going here as far as the South American TI9 qualifiers continue. We are going to get the chance to watch FURIA once again, so going to be coming off a loss, but going to have to get over it quickly. They're going to be matched up against Infamous Gaming, who is also coming off a loss from their first game. They actually lost to Thunder Predator in that one earlier on today themselves. So both teams 0-1. More losses start adding up, especially early in the group stages. That can really get on you. We'll see which team will go 0-2 and which team will be 1-1 after the fact. I'm BreakyCPK, joined by Hasbaz. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. TI9 qualifiers for South American region continue next.